You know, in the chaotic world of trading, what we're all really chasing after is clarity. But how do you actually find a clear, reliable signal when there's just so much noise out there? Well, this framework claims to have the answer, so let's dive in and see how it works. Okay, take a look at this. On the left, you've got what the source material calls retail noise. It's that tangled mess of indicators, right? They're all screaming different things at you, and it just leads to analysis paralysis. But on the right, that's the goal. That's institutional clarity, where one single, decisive signal just cuts right through all that chaos. And that really gets to the core promise of this whole thing. It's about making a huge shift, moving away from just guessing, hoping that this indicator is right this time, and moving toward a confirmed, data-driven approach that's built on agreement. So let's dig a little deeper into this fundamental problem that the framework is built to solve. It's this constant battle every trader faces, the fight against false signals and all that confusing market noise. Now, what's really cool here is the solution it proposes, and it's this concept called confluence. The best way to think about it is like a voting system for the market. Instead of just listening to one opinion that might be wrong, you're waiting for a whole committee of different, independent factors to all cast their vote in the exact same direction. Okay, so this idea of confluence sounds great in theory, right? But how does that actually become a tool you can use? Well, the source material says it pretty simply. Professionals don't guess, they confirm. And this is the architecture that's designed to give you that confirmation. And right at the heart of the framework is what they call the consensus engine. Honestly, you can think of it like a central processing unit for the market. It's taking in 5 completely different layers of analysis, things like trend, structure, momentum, and more. And its whole job is to process all of that and output one single high-probability signal. And here they are, those 5 layers we just saw. Each one gives you a totally unique perspective on what the market is doing. So let's peel them back and take a quick look at the logic behind each one. So how does this whole voting system really work under the hood? Let's break down a few of these key layers to see exactly how each one casts its vote. First up is trend, and it uses something called the EMA cascade. Now, EMA just stands for exponential moving average, and it gives more weight to what's happening right now. The logic here is beautifully simple. For a really strong trend, your short-term, medium-term, and long-term averages all need to be stacked up in the right order. When they all align perfectly, it's like a green light, a sign of a smooth path forward, or as the slide says, friction removed. Next, let's talk about structure. And a super important metric here is VWAP, the volume-weighted average price. Now, here's the crucial part. Big institutions, the big players, they often use VWAP as their benchmark for what a fair value is, because it looks at both price and volume. So if the price is consistently staying above VWAP, it's a huge clue that the big money is in control and they're willing to pay a premium. Then we have the momentum engine, which the source material calls a triple threat, and for good reason. It combines 3 powerful indicators: RSI for the speed of the move, DMI for its direction, and ADX for its underlying strength. The system demands that all 3 have to agree. It's not enough to just have momentum. It has to be strong and headed in a very clear direction. Oh, and this one is brilliant because it gets to a core principle of trading. This layer uses volume as the truth serum. Why? Because think about it, price can be manipulated. It can lie. But volume? Volume doesn't lie. A big price move with no volume behind it is suspicious. This layer makes sure that real money, real participation is backing the move. Okay, so we've looked at a few of the individual layers, right? We see how each one casts its own vote on what the market's doing. But the real power, the real magic, is how the framework pulls all of this information together into one single actionable view. Let's see how it does that. This is where you see the big picture. It's called the matrix view, or the CZAT dashboard. It's built on the idea that the market is fractal, that the same patterns show up on all the different timeframes. I love this analogy they use. The tide is your long-term, powerful trend, and the ripple is the short-term move. This dashboard, at a single glance, makes sure you're not trying to swim against that powerful tide. So with all this data flooding in, how do you make a final decision? Well, you don't have to guess. The framework takes all 19 plus of those active filters from every single layer and just boils it all down to a simple quantified conviction score. It's the final tally from that voting committee we talked about. And here you can see it's 12 votes to buy versus only 2 votes to sell. The decision becomes totally objective. And here it is, the whole thing working together on a live chart. Just look at this for a second. You've got the summary table on the left, tallying up all the votes in real time. You've got that multi-timeframe CCAT dashboard on the bottom right, giving you that crucial context. And then you have the smart money concept zones, those order blocks, plotted right on the chart. All the information you could possibly need is right there, in one clean, integrated view, so you can make your decisions with real confidence. So when you put it all together, what's the real payoff? What's the ultimate benefit of using an approach that's so systematic, so multi-layered? Well, the source material has a name for it: the unfair advantage. And this advantage really breaks down into 4 huge areas. First, there's speed. The system processes almost 20 different filters in milliseconds, way faster than any human could. Second, visibility. It pulls back the curtain to reveal the underlying institutional structure that most retail traders completely miss. Third, objectivity. You're taking emotion and guesswork out of the equation and replacing it with 100% data. And finally, context, giving you that all-important multi-timeframe alignment live in real time. And that really brings us to a final, crucial question you have to ask yourself. If the market truly is a conversation, and that conversation is dominated by huge institutions, are the tools you're using right now actually designed to listen to that conversation, or are they just adding to the noise? At the end of the day, this entire framework is really a blueprint for being prepared. The final message here is all about empowerment. The market rewards discipline, and it rewards a prepared mind. This system is designed to give you the structure, to give you the blueprint, leaving that final most important step, execution, to you.